Welcome, everyone. My name is Matthew Glezos. I'm the co-founder of Toronto DAO, and I host these weekly spaces. We have a huge guest. We have Trevor from Sapien. Again, thank you so much for joining.
Thanks for having me, guys. Yeah, I'm proud Toronto born and raised. It's great to see the crypto scene come back here.
Yes, we're trying. We're certainly trying. We had consensus a few weeks ago, and we had we had futurists as well. And I've been in this space for a while in Toronto, and I'm not disappointed where it's at, but I love to see that it's still growing, and it could always grow more.
Yeah, no, it was great having consensus here. That was awesome. It's something I hope they come back and do again.
Yes, yes. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. So I know you're here to talk about, Sapien, but I just have to before we do that, you have quite the story. I don't think anybody in Web3 has the backstory that you do. So do you mind telling me about yourself before telling me about Sapien and how you got to where you are now?
Yeah, no, I've been kind of a tech guy and founder for a long time. I got into crypto really early in 2012. Is kind of when
Ooh.
I started getting really interested, and there wasn't a lot to do back then, but just kind of go to some events and hang out with fellow weirdos, and it was a lot of fun. It was great back then. It was very pure and authentic and small, and yeah, eventually it just kept growing. The Ethereum project had its roots in Toronto as well, and that was a big inflection point, I think, for obviously for Toronto as a crypto hub, but also just crypto broadly. When Vitalik released the white paper, and there was a bit of chatter, and then a lot of smart technical co-founders joined, like Gavin Wood, Charles Hoskinson, and Joe Lubin, and that was a rocket ship. Ethereum was a freight train that just grew in terms of developer adoption, in terms of user adoption, in terms of applications on top of it. And that inspired me to launch my first Web3 company called Polymath, which was kind of taking the next step beyond a base layer, like an application that could tokenize other physical objects, like I should say real world objects, because is a stock and a bond a physical thing? Maybe not, but kind of tokenizing financial instruments and products. And yeah, so that was kind of how I kind of burst onto the scene, and I've been very active as an angel investor and just community fanboy of a lot of these exciting technologies coming out. And then more recently, I launched a project called Sapien, and have an amazing team and a lot of traction that we're excited about, and that's kind of taking most of my time these days.
Yeah, that's really incredible. And would you did you see Vitalik in those spaces, and were you in the Bitcoin base space that they had a while back?
Which one? Sorry.
I can't remember where there was a Bitcoin Bay building.
Oh yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, they had there was a lot of little side events and side groups as well. There was a very vibrant community. I know those guys. I think Antoine and folks like that.
Yeah, Antoine, he's one of our co-founders actually.
Oh, amazing! I love Antoine.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Yeah, so I just had to ask about that because I've heard various stories about back in those days, so I'm always fascinated to hear it. So now your project is Sapien. Why don't you tell us about that?
Yeah, totally. It's an AI company that I got really excited about AI as well. In I think 2022, 2023, the machine learning kind of economy was scaling to the point where everything kind of came together, like the data, the compute, and the algorithms and the models and the technical talent, where real products were being launched that were breathtaking. Like DALL-E, I think, was the first image generator that was insane. Like you just prompt a picture, and then the language models kind of were improving behind that as well. ChatGPT 1, 2, 3, 4, and I was just kind of like just interested. I was working on Polymath at the time, but I was just kind of curious and excited. And as time went on, I kind of met some folks who were kind of mentoring me and tutoring me about AI, and particularly AI data. One was a machine learning master's graduate student from the University of Waterloo, where Vitalik went to school. His name was Bowen, and he was kind of teaching me about AI and machine learning. And then another person I owe some thanks to is Lucy Guo. She's the co-founder of Scale AI, and we're just kind of friends with her and just very casually just probing some questions, because she obviously built an amazing company that eventually just recently got acquired by Meta for an amazing exit. And so, so throughout that process, we kind of settled on a problem around AI data that we thought was worth starting a company around, and that's how Sapien was born.
That's really cool. Yes, and I heard about the AI, like Meta acquiring that AI projects. We talked about it briefly before you came on. I don't. Can you elaborate more on that? Because I saw it. Can't. I have to admit, I'm not really sure what happened though.
Around Sapien?
No, about the Meta news.
Oh yeah, there was a big acquisition. So it's kind of an acquisition. I think technically it's just a controlling stake, but Meta basically bought 49% of Scale AI for $15 billion. And it's just an amazing, like, Alex Wang is the CEO. I've never met him, but I've just been inspired by him. And it's not an easy company, Scale AI, to scale it and build it. And I'm very impressed by him as a founder and Lucy as a founder as well.
I mean, 14 billion is it's 14 billion reasons to be impressed by somebody.
Yeah, and it's just showing, the arms race and the land grab in AI right now. Like, Meta is obviously serious to win this, because they're investing tons of resources into Llama and doing massive acquisitions. I think their biggest one by far to date. And also I've heard rumors they're like paying millions of dollars per year for AI talent. So there's just like an arms race going on right now.
Wow, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out.
Uh-huh.
So, like, what sort of services do you offer at Sapien?
So Sapien is a data labeling company where we use an open protocol to create data. Basically, we tried to solve the problem of lack of data, because that's the current bottleneck in AI is data, and that's kind of the holy grail for companies right now. Is like, how do you find an edge in AI? How do you win in AI? And it's probably not going to be by getting more compute, because like you can just buy more compute, so there's no competitive advantage. On the algorithmic side, that's another component of AI. It's a little harder to know where the sustainable moat and edge around an algorithm is going to be. So the last remaining thing in this huge, like, paradigm shifting technology, AI, is data. And so, how do you think about data? Do you have good quality data that's valuable? You can either sell access to it, and someone else can use it to train a model, or you can build a model yourself. So we're seeing a lot of companies now that are scared of their traditional legacy business getting disintermediated, and so now they're building their own models, and they're saying, well, we should probably get smart on how to disrupt ourselves instead of just letting somebody else do it. So Sapien basically helps these companies acquire and structure more data. It turns out, just having data isn't good enough nowadays. You need like certain kinds of data. You need high quality data. You need specialized data from human experts. And not only that, when you get the data, it's not done. You have to you have to structure that data and clean that data and classify that data. So there's a lot of work that happens to make data kind of usable by these models. And just like there's an arms race for, you know, talent and compute and chips, there's an even bigger arms race forcing for access to high quality data. So, you know, one last thing on this topic is like these companies all use the same data to train on to a certain extent, and we call that kind of the open internet data. So there's a lot of freely available internet data. It's this amazing asset, by the way. It's like this huge corpus of data that allows these models to be so good. And the problem, that's great, and that's why these models like got so good so quickly, is because of this open internet data. But now they've kind of hit a wall. There's actually a term in the industry called the data wall, where like, okay, everybody's trained on all the open internet data. Yes, there's a lot of new internet data being created every second, but it's still kind of marginal improvements. So now everybody's looking to the next frontier, and I would say that that's the bad news, I guess, for more progress and to try to strive towards AGI, artificial general intelligence. But the good news is that it's the open internet data is actually, it seems like an endless amount of data, but it's actually just the tip of the iceberg. It's not exhaustive. Like, in fact, there's hundreds of times more data in private environments, like companies that have massive amounts of private data. Like, that's not open to OpenAI to train on. That's private data stored on-prem or stored locked up in a cloud somewhere. So that's kind of the next big unlock that I think there's tons of improvement to get, is like, how do we access these kind of latent data sources, and how do we use that data to turbocharge these models? An example of that might be like JP Morgan. They have probably one of the most valuable data sets in the world, which is their customer financial data and trading data and banking data. So they have that asset. And so they have a big decision to make. You know, do they want to sell access to that data to OpenAI? Probably not, because they're just going to like cannibalize themselves. So maybe instead of that, they're going to say, why don't we build our own model? Why don't we leverage our own data to build our own product, which is a vertical model in finance that's better than OpenAI, because they don't have access to this data. It's really as simple as that. Like, if you have, it's hard to compete with OpenAI because they're generalized, and it's literally called the general model, and it's really good. They have a lot of great data sets and data access. I think they pay like Reddit $60 million a quarter for access to their data set. So if you're JP Morgan, it's scary because you're getting your whole business might be replaced by AI, but it turns out AI is also something you can monetize. Some of the fastest growing revenue streams for companies this earnings quarter was AI related, whether it's data centers or whether it's monetizing AI. You know, a lot of people don't know this, but because everyone just talks about the doom and gloom of, oh, AI is going to crash the economy or something ridiculous like that. But it's actually the opposite. If you look at some of the fastest growing companies ever of all time are AI startups. As of like last quarter, there's companies that have gone from 0 to 100 million revenue in like under 2 years, which is insane. And that's recurring revenue. So the fastest growing companies ever are right now, right here. Some of the biggest companies, like a company like Cursor, which is a coding developer environment, is like 0 to $9 billion on primarily on a product that they launched under 2 years ago. So it's amazing. It's exciting. It's a great time to be a founder. It's a great time to be an investor. And it's just a great time, I think, to be alive, that we get to be a part of this movement.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to remember, for those who think like Skynet is taking over, we look at past like revolutions, like the Industrial Revolution. These jobs transitioned, you know? I mean, yeah, there was probably some short-term gain, game loss. But these as one job ends, another job opens up. And as you said, there's so many startups in AI, which usually means that the more companies are, the more jobs there'll be. And I'm sure even the major players will be hiring in these departments soon too.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So I see like you have like a play to earn thing. So can you walk me through, like, I'm on your website right now. How do I earn with you guys?
Yeah, so Sapien, we kind of went on a tangent there, but it is kind of like a new type of work where this is another theme we talk on a lot, where if you're a gig worker today, that's gig working's awesome. Like, if you can drive an Uber, it's flexible, you can choose your own hours, you make more money per hour than a taxi driver, so it's like an awesome option. And there's millions of people that do gig working now, especially technology enabled gig working. But that might change. Like, your car might be a robo taxi soon, so you don't need a driver. And if you're a door dasher, you might have Amazon drones dropping packages off. So that's the bad news. The good news is there's new, bigger, even more lucrative, more convenient professions and careers popping up, whether that's super highly skilled, like being an AI researcher, or whether that's like being a data labeler. You can now earn a living by producing data for these AI models as a human, because these models want you and they have demand for your skills and your expertise. And that's what Sapien is. It's a new form of gig work where anyone can earn a living wage. That's kind of our goal. And it doesn't matter where you are. Like, if you're in the Philippines, all you need is an Android phone and an internet connection, and you can earn on your terms, on your schedules. And the way it works is you have data tasks from real companies. We're kind of like the Uber in a way. So we have companies that need humans to create data, and then the humans we call them Sapiens, just log into the app from their mobile phone, and they can start doing data tasks that are real valuable. We try to make it fun and gamified it, but at the end of the day, there's real structured data being produced, which companies pay for, and then you get paid for the trouble. And we've tried to gamify that. You can get rewards, you can earn points, and we're still bringing out more monetization tools and options. But for now, it's just a fun way to earn points and to eventually make this potentially your full-time job.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, gig economy is huge. I used to make way too much money with Uber Eats during COVID. Like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I worked for a bank once in like the corporate, and I was making more doing Uber at that point. Now not so much. I haven't done it for a while, but when I stopped, it wasn't really making any money. But you mentioned these points. Like, what can you do with these points right now?
Yeah. So right now, the points are a way to kind of there's paid tasks as well, so you can kind of choose what you want to do. But for now, the points ecosystem is just kind of like a fun gamified way to move up the leaderboard, and we're just trying to make it like super accessible and super fun. And then over time, we want those rewards to be as meaningful as possible.
Okay, will the points be exchangeable at any time, or is something you're still working on?
You
Yeah,
want me to address it, Trev?
yeah, no, like we right now we're just focused on like making the best user experience, and points simply are a way to like see your standings globally. And over time, we're open to exploring other ways to expand what those points can do.
All right, good stuff. And yeah, I think that's really cool. And I like the fact that people can like work anywhere. Just a bit of like backstory. My godson's Bolivian, and his sister is really trying to find another source of income because their currency is just tanked. And like I really feel like something like that could help her out.
Yeah, no, that's what we do it for, is like, let's say, because by the way, if you want to do data production today, it's kind of like being a taxi driver before Uber. Like, you have to go to these physical locations, you have to pay all these fees, you have to, getting paid is a huge problem. You have to wait in traffic. But now with Sapien, you can just do it from your phone. You can create your own hours. You can do it as a part-time gig work or as a full-time job. So hopefully over time, like, there's no unemployment, there's no poverty. Like, if you want to, technically, you could drive an Uber, but you have to have a driver's license. You have to have a car, right? Uber doesn't give you a car. But here you don't need anything. You literally need a $20 Android phone and an internet connection and Starbucks or something, and you can hopefully earn enough to pay your bills. And then if you're an expert and you're a specialized human in some way, like specialized in the sense you have like a legal degree or a medical degree or something, you can earn a lot more because data tasks pay you more based on what skills you know. So the good news is, just being a human, you can earn no matter what, even if you don't speak English. A lot of the tasks are image based, or you just need to be a human. You can earn, and if you have more skills, you can earn even more.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, everybody has a phone, and there's usually a place where you can get internet, be it a library, as you said, a Starbucks. So, for all those people that are not in a good spot right now financially, I really, really hope this works out for them specifically.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what does Web3 play a role into this?
Good question. And yes, we actually need Web3 for this to work at scale. The big innovation for us is what we call distributed data labeling or decentralized data labeling, which basically means you don't need a physical location or even a central company to oversee the process. And the benefits to that, it's not just like decentralizing for the sake of it. It's actually like a meaningful, better product if we can figure this out, because decentralization means anyone can be a labeler. They don't need to be in a physical city, and they don't have to be able to drive to an office. Let's say they're a new mom or they're disabled in some way. And so the way how do we do that, right? Some of the biggest companies in the world are primarily centralized, like Scale AI and others. They're amazing businesses, but they're centralized. It's kind of like the taxi industry, like they're enormous. But can we not necessarily improve on that, but can we make it cheaper for the customer? Can we make it more lucrative for the human? And can we make the all-around product better in the specific use case? So that's kind of the problem set that we started with. And if we can solve that, I think it changes the data industry completely, because now it's just a better product for the customer and for the user. And so the way we do that is using Web3 incentives, actually, because the problem with everyone would just decentralize, even like Bitcoin, you would just decentralize it easily if you could, but it's not that easy. You need like consensus mechanisms. You need like a really robust adversarial ecosystem that actually produces a unified result in some way. And so for us, that was a big problem. Like, how do we decentralize data production, but B, do it in a way that works? Like, do it in a way where humans that are trying to attack the network can't win. So it's kind of like Bitcoin, right? Like, what if you have bad actors? Well, the system is designed where it's in everybody's best interest to follow the rules. And if you break the rules, you actually lose incentive, you lose capital. And so we have a whole set of technologies and tools and suites, product suites that are in the process of solving this problem, and we're getting really good results where we think not only will we be faster and cheaper and more lucrative, but we'll also have better accuracy. That's the big thing our customers look for, is like, how accurate is your data? What if humans try to Sybil attack your network? That's a common problem in crypto, which means like, not genuinely produce data. How can we police that? And there's two ways. We can do it manually. We can have other humans manage the humans, and that's one way to do it. It's very inefficient. But we think using Web3 incentives and mechanism design, we can kind of scale and automate that whole process completely.
That's really cool. Yeah, I imagine, like, if I did a bunch of work for you guys, and then you had to have somebody check all my work, and like then maybe you have to check that guy's work to make sure that they're doing their job. Is that like, basically you have three people doing the same job?
Exactly. Yeah, you nailed it. That's the problem, is like, how do you like, because that's how it's done today. It's like very manual. There's spot checkers, and they have to like do things like hold back people's pay until they do retroactive performance reviews. So, I'm not blaming that model. Like, that's one way to do it. And if you have large enough customers, you can afford to have inefficient operations. But we're trying to like revamp the model, right? Where it feels like Uber, right? It's just better for all parties.
Yeah, I agree. And then it'd be interesting to see how that works out. And on your site, you have a few success stories. Are you able to talk about that, or there's no NDAs involved, or?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we can. We have a few testimonials of like companies, from small companies like we had an instance which was a pancreatic cancer researcher in the early days, where we had to get a network of radiologists to draw bounding boxes around MRI image data. And that was a labeler, like they're labeling data, but it's like high quality medical data where people are actually getting paid a lot, like hundreds of dollars an hour to label data. So those are fun use cases. We've also had like large multinational Fortune 100. Some of them are on our website, where they're building their own models. They're building their own language models. They're building their own audio-based models. Like, there's different modalities. You've probably heard that term, which is like text, audio, video for these models as well. Language models is the text-based version, but now you're seeing like videos. It's unbelievable now. You can like generate your own videos. So yeah, we're very proud. We work with over 20 large enterprises now, ranging from like large multinationals in Asia. We have a big foothold there. That's where a lot of our labelers are as well, to local ones in San Francisco and Silicon Valley, where Ben and I hang out as well. And it's fun because we get to like, there's some urgency with these customers, which is fun, because they see the writing on the wall and they either have to adapt or die. And the companies that we work with are early movers, and they're saying, no, we're not going to wait around to get disrupted by AI. We're gonna lean into this.
I found, yes, to be honest, the cancer one was what initially caught my eye, because I mean, you could literally say what you did probably saved a few lives in the process, right?
Yeah, it potentially will, because we're building a model to help radiologists do their job, and we think that absolutely could save lives, and all in another good day's work, right?
Yeah, and plus I imagine there'd be like a domino effect, like they spend less time looking at charts and more time with the patients too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know how the medical process works, so maybe what I said was completely wrong. But
Yeah. Amen.
But yeah, is there anything else about Sapien that we haven't gone over that you'd like to talk about?
No, that's the main overview. Those are great questions, and really proud to see the Toronto Mafia still going strong.
Oh yeah, so you're not in Toronto right now. That's correct?
No, I'm mostly based in California, but I try to come back as much as I can.
Okay, well, I was gonna say if you are in Toronto on the 25th, we have a big event in the Distillery District.
Oh,
So
cool. Yeah, send me the
yeah,
link. Let's check it out.
yeah, definitely. In the it's in the Arta Gallery. It's gonna be lots of fun. It's probably our most fancy event. It's probably our fanciest event. Because it, I mean, I assume it's fancy with the art gallery. I've been in it. It's nice. There's going to be hors d'oeuvres, panel on crypto trading and the direction it's going, and great networking activity as well. So I encourage you all to check it out if you're in Toronto. We also have a Zealy campaign for those who are active contributors to Toronto DAO, and this week is no exception. We have the Sapiens Space Quest that went live maybe 15 minutes ago. It's a very simple code. It's one word, no space. It's just AI Sapien, all lowercase. So head on over to get those points because, like with Sapien, who they like track with points of who contributes more. We're kind of doing a similar thing here with Zealy.
Awesome.
But yeah, this has been great. I've learned a lot. Like I said, I was really looking forward to this space, and you did not fail to deliver. So I once again thank you so much for joining us, and thank you all for who are listening in this week. We do have weekly spaces, so make sure to check us out next week, same time every Thursday at 2:00. But I wish everyone a great weekend and a great Friday as well.
Thanks a lot, y'all.
Take care, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.